Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and originally my plan for today was to start uploading my best and worst lists, or to upload the first of my best and worst lists for the end of the year for 2021. However, I currently have 25 minutes left until I have to go to uni. Well, until my lecture starts. Uni is still online for me. So yeah, that ain't gonna happen for one of my best and worst videos because I am quite wordy in those videos. So something I decided to share with you today instead is, first of all, a little Christmas book haul, share with you the books that I got for Christmas. And then also, you will probably all know that I had a TBR 0 project in 2021. For me, however, that didn't mean that I didn't want to have any physical books left on my TBR or any books left on my physical TBR. For me, that just meant I didn't want to have any books left that I read or that I acquired before 2021. So I still currently have 14 books on my physical TBR, and I thought I'd share those books with you because I didn't know what other idea I would have for a video today. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna share the books that I got for Christmas with you, and I'm gonna share my physical TBR with you. But let's start with my Christmas book haul, which is quite short. I actually only got 4 books. I got 2 non-fiction books and 2 fiction books. And let's start with the fiction books. Both of the fiction books I got are a very pretty yellow cover, and both of them are literary fiction. First, I have Homegoing by Ya Gyasi. I had this on my wish list for a while now. I have also heard from a friend, Scylla, who you know because she visited me in September, that this book is quite good. And as far as I know, this is like a generational story, starting with 2 sisters with 2 very different destinies. One sold into slavery, one a slave trader's wife. So yeah, this is, I believe, as I said, a generational story starting with those 2 sisters. It's quite a short book, so I am excited to see what this is all about. And then the second book I got is also by a black author, although I believe Ya Gyasi is African American. I'm not quite sure. Let's see. No, she's born in Ghana and she was raised in America. But the second author that I have a book from is a Ugandan author, and it's The First Woman. I don't know that much about this either, aside from that we follow a young girl as she's growing up perhaps, and that I think there might be some magical realism, fabulism elements in this story, and that it won a prize. So yeah, I'm also very excited to get to this one. This one's a little bit longer than the other one. It's just over 400 pages, and let's see when I'll get to it. And then as for the 2 non-fiction books that I got, first I have this one right here, which is Burning the Books, A History of Knowledge Under Attack by Richard Oveden. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. And basically, as far as I can gather, this is a book that is, first of all, about destroying and systematically destroying knowledge over history and like different regimes and so on, and what they did to destroy knowledge, to destroy libraries, to destroy archives, to destroy history. And then on the other hand, it is also about the people who have tried to keep history and to keep knowledge and to keep books. So yeah, I'm very excited to get into this, although I will probably only start this after the next book that I got, or the last book that I got for Christmas, which is Silk Roads by Peter Frankopan. And this is a history of the world, but instead of it being told in a very Eurocentric Western point of view, which history books obviously usually are, this is told from the point of view of the Middle East, of the Arabian Peninsula, of the Muslim world. And so yes, I am very, very excited to get to this. It is quite long. It's 900 pages, so I believe I will work my way through this only very slowly, but I've once again heard a lot of good things about this, and one of my professors at uni also recommended it to us. So yes, when I saw it at the bookstore, I told my mom that I wanted it for Christmas, and I am very excited to get to this. So now moving on to sharing my physical TBR with you, and I am very happy to say that I have few enough books, I think, that I can actually tell you a little bit about the books that I know something about. And first let's start with the two books that I do still have from before 2021, but with these two I didn't really count them as part of my physical TBR anyway because of what they are and because of the place that they have within my collection. The first of those is Grimm's Fairy Tales. I am halfway through this, so I'm sure this won't be part of my TBR for long anymore. And this is a complete edition of all of their fairy tales. Usually Grimm's Fairy Tales collection only have a very small percentage of the fairy tales that they actually collected. And, you know, even the bigger collections usually only have the basic fairy tales and then additionally a few more. However, this is all of them, and the reason why I'm only like half counting it as part of my TBR is, first of all, because I'm halfway through it, but also because obviously I have already read a lot of the fairy tales in this collection. So yes, I'm excited to finish it anyway though. And then I have this chunky book that I got for Christmas of 2020. This is called Frauenlyrik, Gedichte in deutscher Sprache. It's called Women's Poetry or Women Poems. Poems in the German language, and this is a collection of poetry by, for, and about women. So yes, I got this because I wanted to start getting into poetry. 2021 was not the year for me. I hope 2022 is, but since I only got it at the end of 2020, I'm also not counting this as not having finished my TBR 0. Does that make sense? Moving on, I have some books that I started in December that are still unread though. And the first of those is The Untold Story by Genevieve Cogman, which I believe is the 8th book in the Invisible Library series. And this is basically a series that is set in a world where there's a bunch of different alternate universes of our world with different timelines and different levels of technology and more or less magic and so on. And at the center of everything you have this entity called the Invisible Library. And they steal books and steal unique stories from the different worlds and stay connected between the worlds through that. And the main character that we follow is called Irene Winters. She's a librarian and she's one of the people who steals books. And yes, it's just a really fun series. I did not get to this in December because of my bad reading slump, but I'm sure I will get to it quite soon. It's already next to my bed, so yes, very excited to continue on with this. The other unread book that I have that I'm currently reading, or that I have started in December, is The Veiled Throne by Ken Liu. This is the 3rd book in the Dandelion Dynasty, and that series is quite hard to explain because of the scope it has, but it starts with the Grace of Kings, and in the Grace of Kings we have this empire that has united the different kingdoms of the world, or of this part of the world, and we follow two characters who are kind of part of a rebellion against the empire, or they try to fight the empire for different reasons. They have become part, sometimes accidentally, of this rebellion, and the two characters are quite different from each other, but they are very important for the course of the history that is going to unfold within this world. So that is the basic gist of the first book. I'm now at the 3rd book. I very much enjoyed the first two and I cannot wait to finish this. However, it's over 1,000 pages, so you know, I wanna finish it. I'm gonna try to finish it within January, but we'll see how my reading is going. Next, let me share 4 books that I know nothing about, aside from that they're older fantasies, so early 2000s and earlier. and that they were all written by women. First, I have Lord of Snow and Shadows by Sarah Ashe, which is the first book in the Tears of Artemun series trilogy. The reason why I got this is because I plan to buddy read this series with Scylla, and yeah, I know nothing about this, so I can read you the back, but honestly I'm not a fan of reading the back, so it's whatever. I'm just going into this completely blind. The next 3 I found in a used bookstore in Amsterdam, and I just randomly picked them up because they were all just, you know, €3 or something. The first 2 are part of a series of the same series, and they are, what are they called? The Company of Glass and The Riddled Knight, which are the first 2 books in the Avarian series. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, by Valerie Leith. Whatever. The reason why I picked them up, once again, I know nothing about them. Actually, they have quite bad ratings on Goodreads, but whatever. But the reason why I picked them up, I don't know if you can see it, but they have these really campy covers, and I just thought they were so fun, so I decided to get them because why not? Also, I sometimes just love getting books that I know absolutely nothing about and that I haven't heard a single thing about, that I've never heard anyone talk about, because, you know, you just go into those books with 0 expectations, which sometimes can be very nice. And then the other book I got in that same store is Southern Fire by Juliet E. McKenna, and this is the first book in the Aldebrashian Compass, I believe. Once again, I know nothing about this. I just picked it up because why not? There were actually quite a few books there by female authors or fantasy books, but there were very few series where there was the first book there, so I basically just picked this up because it had the first book there, and yeah, I'll see what I think about it. So I gotta move on because I have only 12 minutes left. So lastly, I have 6 more books that are all continuations or the last book in series. First, let's start with all the new releases from December that I got. I have Girls of Fate and Fury by Natasha Nan, which is the 3rd and last book in the Girls of Paper and Fire series. This is a sapphic YA high fantasy. And in this world you have the Demon King, who every year wants, I think, 12 paper girls to become his concubines. And our main character is chosen as a 13th girl in that year. And so, yeah, she's taken to the palace as a concubine to the Demon King. And the story starts from there. Then I have The Excalibur Curse by Kirsten White, which is the last book in the Camelot Rising series. This series is also YA, and it's an Arthurian inspired YA fantasy, historical fantasy. In this one we follow Guinevere, who is sent by Merlin to Camelot to help Arthur fight a darkness, fight some evil stuff. However, Guinevere herself is not quite what she seems to be, and so yes, we just follow her story as she helps Arthur. Then I have The Bone Shard Emperor by Andrea Stewart, which is the 2nd book in the Drowning Empire. That's what it's called. The 2nd book in the Drowning Empire series. This is an adult high fantasy series, and it's set in this world with bone shard magic, where people who have the magic can use bone shards to kind of animate creatures. It's kind of hard to explain. And in the first book we follow our main character, whose name I forgot. Yeah, our main character Lynn, who is the daughter of the emperor. However, the emperor refuses to teach her bone shard magic for reasons. And she just tries to find out why that is, and she tries to regain her legacy, which is, you know, knowing bone shard magic. So yes, very excited to continue on this series as well, although I might wait a little bit because the release of the third book has been pushed back to 2023, the start of 2023. So I might just keep this on my TBR shelf a little bit longer. Last two books. First, I have Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. This is the first book of the standalones in the First Law world by Joe Abercrombie. I don't know what this is about. The First Law series world basically is Joe Abercrombie's adult high fantasy grim dark world. Although it's very funny because this book is set in a place within a world that is called Styria. My mom is from Styria, which is a county in Austria. However, they did not translate the German with Steiermark, which is the German version of Styria, so yes. Anyway, probably gonna get to this quite soon within the next 2 months because I have a bunch of people who might want to buddy read this with me, and yeah, very, very excited. And then the last book on my physical TBR, which I believe would make a total of 15 books, which I think is a good number to start the year out on. We'll see how that'll change towards the end of the year. But the last book I have is The Voyage of the Basilisk, which is the third book in the Memoirs by Lady Trent series by Marie Brennan. And this series is set in an alternate Victorian England inspired world, or Victorian time inspired world, and our main setting is their version of Victorian England. And we follow our main character Isabella, who wants nothing more than to be a naturalist who can research dragons. However, because of the role of women in this society, she has some obstacles in her way to becoming a naturalist and a researcher. And so yes, I very much enjoyed the first two books in this series, and I cannot wait to get to book 3. And now I have 6 minutes left until my lecture starts, so let me just very quickly say goodbye. How is your TBR looking at the beginning of 2022? Do you have too many books? Are you happy with where your physical TBR is? If you enjoyed this video, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and also maybe subscribing. All the links to my social media, as well as all the links to my book club of Queens, Witches and Valkyries, where I read one adult high fantasy book written by a woman or genderqueer person per month, will be left linked down below, so go and check those out as well. And with all of that said, I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!